Welcome to Heroic Hounds of Sargeras Guide. This fight is the second boss of Antor's, the Burning Throne. It's one of the easier fights as a tank mechanically. There's not much that you need to do. However, the bosses do hit really hard. So you need to be prepped and ready to handle the incoming damage. Healers have to be aware that you're going to take a lot of damage. And if those two things happen, it's an overall easy fight. Talent-wise, I run with Abyssal Strike, Fallout, Flame Crash Fracture, Concentrated Sigils, Spirit Bomb, and Last Resort. I would recommend Last Resort over the other ones simply because you will get bursted, and if you or the healer is not ready for the burst, this will save your life. Demonic Infusion can definitely help. 55% of the damage that you're going to take, roughly, based on my fight, is going to be physical damage. And Soul Barrier could also be decent, use it on cooldown, but again, Last Resort is what I would go with. Gear wise, there's quite a few different combinations. You could run with the 2-piece tier 20, it's highly recommended for the 5% damage reduction. The legendaries, first off, I would run with the Dark Moon card because 55% is physical melee damage. That will help a lot. For survival, I'd run with Archimonde's Hatred Reborn, or pop up the loot here. So for survival, I would run with either Archimonde's Hatred Reborn, Oblivion's Embrace, or even the Cloak of Fell Flames. So roughly 45% of your damage is magical, and if you're going to die, it's going to be because you're taking burst magic damage on top of the melee attacks. So the Cloak of Fell Flames is definitely worthwhile here if you want to survive. With the pants or Archimonde's. DPS wise, Insignia of the Grand Army, Archimonde's Hatred Reborn, or the belt. Consumables I ran with for progression or learning the fight. I use Push and Prolong Power. Once we know the fight, I run with Old War for parsing. Agility Flask, Agility Food, the Lightforge Augment Rune, and that's really it. So let's go ahead and look at the fight. Alright, welcome to the Hounds of Sargeras. So this fight is pretty simple for a tank. How we break it down is we have one tank on the right side, one tank on the left side. The hounds have to be 40 yards apart, or they get a 200% damage buff and people just die. So you can never move them close to each other. We keep markers down to make sure they stay on the markers, and the raid stays in the middle on triangle. We do place melee on the Shadow Dog, but it's not necessary. You can split it up. So on the pull, it's a normal pull rotation. I blow my cooldowns to maximize damage, so jump in, Fire Brand, Immolation Aura, Soul Carver, Archimonde's Hatred Reborn, the entire normal rotation. Now, what he does here is he puts a debuff on you. It's Maw of Darkness, I might have that name wrong, but what it does is it does a ton of damage and it stacks. So every time you get hit by it, the next one's going to hit you even harder. And it's going to make you take increased shadow damage, taking shadow damage every 3 seconds. So it's like 500,000 shadow damage every 3 seconds. And this stacks. So every time you get hit by this, it just hits you harder and harder. Beware. So what you want to do is watch your DBM or bigwigs, and it tells you when the next one's coming in. And when you get around 3, 4, 5 stacks, when you want to make sure you have your power wards up, Fire Brand, meta, anything you need to survive. Because if you watch, I'll stop this here for a second. If you watch my health pool when I get hit, I get chunked pretty hard. When he hits 100 energy, like he just did, he does his ultimate ability. And this is good, because when he does it, it gives you enough time to drop your stacks. So when he does his ultimate, all the people with the debuff to stay stacked up like you saw right there in melee. So just watch your DBM timer. It's called Corrupting Maul, is what it's called.
Beware.
So you can see every 3 seconds I'm spiking a little bit on top of his normal melee hits. I'm using Fire Brand and cooldown. If you have trouble surviving, you might want to save that for stack 4, maybe even 5. So here's stack 4, and I get chunked to under half. Number 5 should be coming in. There it is. So basically, you need your healers aware of the tank damage, because you're going to increasing tank damage, shadow damage over the course of the fight. When he channels his ultimate, which you're going to see in a second, we get to drop our stacks. So we're at 6 stacks now, and now we don't have it. So you need to survive about 6 to 7 stacks.
Beware.
So you need to make sure you have your Empower Wards ready, your Fire Brand. If you're using Legendary Cloak, use the Legendary Cloak. One thing to keep in mind that he does cleave. You cannot face him towards anybody else. There are a few other abilities that you have to worry about. And by the way, let me talk about the Fire Dog. The Fire Dog has the same mechanic, but it does half the damage in half the time. So right now we're taking 500,000 shadow damage every 3 seconds, whereas over there you would take 290 something shadow damage, 290,000 shadow damage every 1.5 seconds. So in the course of 3 seconds is the same amount of damage. It's just easier to heal that because it's more consistent. This is more spiky. This consuming sphere is basically a black hole, and it slowly drifts across the map and it pulls everybody with it. So as a tank, you just fight against the pull and make sure you don't turn the boss. While watching Corrupting Maul, make sure you have your debuffs up, or your buffs up. And if you don't have a timer, like DBM or Bigwigs, you should definitely have it. So Weight of Darkness, we didn't get it. Yeah, we did. Okay. So Weight of Darkness goes on several targets. It will do a lot of damage after 3 or 4 seconds, and then fear you for 20 seconds. If you have 1 person in the circle, you're only feared for 10 seconds. 2 people, 5 seconds. 3 people, it completely removes the fear. So when you get it, you need to assign melee or somebody who's reliable to run on top of you inside the circle. So you're going to see that when I call Weight of Darkness, everybody's going to run in this circle, like so, and there it is, and you don't get feared. Keep in mind the melee have to get back out ASAP, or they can get one shot by the Corrupting Maul. And that's really it that you have to worry about. There are some fire patches, lines you see on the ground. Just don't stand in it. Right here, I get picked with it, so I don't move. So just using power rewards for both that and the maul. There could be some flame patches on the ground. If that happens, don't stand in them. And that's it. If you take the fire boss, you use the same exact strat for heroic. Mythic stuff changes, but for heroic, that's how you would do it. So you stay in one place, you DPS, you CDs, and prevent the fear.
Beware.
Again, this boss does a lot of damage. So healers need to be aware of it, ready for it. You need to be aware of it and ready to pop your CDs. Right there I cast Meta because I dropped to about 15% health. Here's the fear. Tell the melee is stack on me. There it is. They have to get out. For the, by the way, how we do that fear. The melee is on the Shadow Dog, so they come stand on me. For the Fire Dog, because the other tank can also get it, we have the mages with blinks, the druids with blinks, and everybody that has blink to blink onto the tank. Once the fear is off, they move back. So melee on one, blinks on the other. If you don't have that many blinks, you can put a couple of melee on that side as well. But keep in mind when the Shadow Dog does his AoE damage, that you want people to be stacked up. So if you only have 2 people over there, and they get the debuff, you have 2 people that's going to probably die due to the debuffs not being split by enough people. So that's why I recommend all melee on one and then have people blink on the other. But that's it. That's the entire fight. So thank you for watching.